Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakothi Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha. श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्धदामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्ख्यपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थितदद्गतेन मनसां पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Namaste once again everyone.
नमस्ते गुरुजी।
Namaste.
नमस्ते गुरुजी।
Namaste.
Namaskaram.
Karam. Oh, you joined today.
For some time, I'll try to be there throughout.
Okay. लभन्ते ब्रह्म निर्वाणं ऋषय क्षीणकल्मषाः छिन्नद्वैधायदात्मानः सर्वभूतहिते रताः. So we're seeing the 25th sloka of the 5th chapter. So after concluding the topic of Jnana Yoga from verses 13 to 21, Krishna is now concluding the 5th chapter itself. In verses 22 and 23, he talked about Jnana Sadhanam, the mental preparation required for self-knowledge. And from verse number 24 onwards, he is talking about Jnana Phala. In the previous verse, that is verse number 24, he said, a yogi, a person who has discovered inner fulfillment, and because of self-knowledge, he got that inner strength and fulfillment. One whose happiness is within and whose creation is also within, not creation, recreation is also within, whose vision is within, has become Brahman while living and attains oneness with Brahman after death. So Krishna talked about both Jivan Muktihi and Videha Muktihi in the previous sloka. And in this verse also, Krishna continues to talk about the benefit of self-knowledge. But he embellishes the benefit by tracing the stages in the spiritual evolution. What are the milestones or stages that one goes through to attain spiritual fulfillment? And he talks about 5 main stages. What are they? Rishaya hai, Kshina kalmasha hai, Yata atmana hai, Sarvabhuta hite rata hai, and Chinna dvaida hai. We had slightly rearranged the sequence of the stages for the sake of better understanding, continuity, and progression. And in the last class, we discussed Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata hai in some detail. Developing a sensitive mind, a mind which is able to feel the emotions of others. That is the first stage. This capacity of feeling others' feelings is called empathy. And this empathy is not limited to the feelings of human beings alone. It should extend to all living beings in the universe. This I called Sarva Bhuta Hite Ratatvam, the quality of empathy towards all living beings. Sarva Bhutam, Sarva Bhuta Hite, for the welfare of all living beings. And it is considered the very fundamental quality which is the foundation for all later virtues in life. So that was the first stage. And we saw that this Sarva Bhuta Hite Ratatvam will lead to the next stage, which is Kshina Kalmasha, in which the seeker will become free from all papam or duritam, which are the cause for obstacles in the spiritual pursuit. Therefore, Kshina Kalmasha means free from all papam or all obstacles. Because in our life, all our obstacles are caused by our past adharmic deeds only. The fruits of our adharmic deeds we reap in the form of obstacles in what we want to gain in this life. So Kshina Kalmasha hai. Then the next stage of the sadhana is Yatatmana hai. So once I become Kshina Kalmasha hai and develop interest in spirituality, in fact, only when the stock of papams are reduced, will one actually even develop interest in spirituality. Otherwise, the very first obstacle that everybody faces because of this duritam or papam is that they won't have interest in spirituality itself. So to develop an interest in spirituality, one needs a lot of punya. And therefore, I have to work for spiritual growth. Because as we discussed, according to Vedanta, spiritual growth or liberation or moksha is not God's will. Liberation depends upon our own free will. Even though God's grace is available to everyone without any discrimination, only a few are able to tap that grace and embark upon the spiritual path. And because of their own efforts, by using their free will, they are able to tap that grace. And this stage is called Yatatmana. Those people who put forth effort in the right direction. Those people who take initiative, develop necessary discipline, and acquire the necessary qualification. All this requires humongous efforts. So Yatatmana. An effort is required for acquiring necessary qualifications, and not only for acquiring qualification, Effort, lot of effort is required for gaining the knowledge also. Just as the qualification, knowledge also does not happen on its own. I have to make it happen by my own effort. We have to take the initiative. What is the initiative? Krishna talked about it in the 4th chapter. Tatvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. Seek knowledge, seek a guru, seek a teacher, seek the shastram. I have to take the initiative to seek all of them. I have to work for the knowledge. And such persons are called yatatmana. People who acquire the discipline and knowledge, who acquire both sadhana chatushtaya sampatti and also jnana. All these things, it's a lifetime effort one needs to put in. It is not an effort, okay, 3 months course, I will attend Vedanta and I will develop interest in spirituality or I will grow in spirituality. That's not going to happen. The more you learn, the more you assimilate, the more you imbibe the teachings, the more your effort should be to live the teachings on the day-to-day basis rather. And all these things require tremendous amount of mental preparation, requires a lot of sacrifice, no compromise. So yatatmana hai. Then what will be the next stage? So once they do the required sadhanas, they become rishaya. Having gone through these stages, they become rishis. The stage of purification, the stage of discipline, the stage of self-inquiry. All these 3 stages will lead to the stage of knowledge. So here Rishaya means Jnaninaha. They become Jnanis. Because the word Rishi is derived from the verbal root rish, to know. So Rishati Janati Atma Tattvam iti Rishihi. This is one derivation of the word Rishi. So Rishi means the one who knows. So if you have that knowledge, that self-knowledge, even though you are amidst the society, coated, booted, suited, everything, still you are a rishi if you have that knowledge. And nothing to do with external appearances. On the other hand, if a person does not have knowledge, even if he wears all these saffron robes and rudraksha mala, etc., he has a long beard, knotted hair and all, he is only a pseudo rishi. And therefore Krishna says, those people who have actually traversed up to this gaining knowledge, they become rishis, rishaya. So that is the next stage. Then Chinnadvaidaha. Chinnadvaidaha means they have actually done away with all the doubts insofar as the knowledge is concerned. Their knowledge is not a doubtful knowledge, but a doubtless knowledge. Because the knowledge is beneficial only when it is free from all forms of doubt. A doubtful knowledge is as good as ignorance. Therefore, acquisition of knowledge is incomplete if all my doubts are not cleared, and that is called conviction. When all doubts get cleared, you gain conviction. Nishchaya jnanam you gain. Samshaya rahita jnanam you gain. Therefore, jnanam has to be converted into nishchaya jnanam or samshaya rahita jnanam by removing all doubts. I should ask my own intellect, am I convinced of this teaching? Of course, this is not for, convincing somebody else. You need not tell anyone. You should ask your own conscience. You ask your own inner heart. Do you agree with Aham Brahma? Agree with when Aham Brahmasmi is said? Are you convinced about it? Because in general, what we see is people will say, Guruji, I understand what you are saying, but there are things which are not very clear. There are certain doubts. And these doubts are very natural because the knowledge that we are dealing with is a revolutionary knowledge, a knowledge which we have never ever come across, not even thought about it. This knowledge is dealing with me, the world, and the God, and the relationship between Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara. And each one is a mind-boggling teaching. It says, I am infinite, limitless, which is very difficult to accept. It says, I am immortal. The doubt comes, can this be all true? When I see everyone dying around me, and I don't know that when my turn will come, but I know for sure that one day my turn also will come. So am I really immortal? It all looks to me like these are all very nice words, motivational words. Limitless, immortal, Shuddha Buddha. All these are meant to boost my morale, pep me up when I am down. It may be just easy to sit quiet, closing the eyes and say, Satchidananda Shivoham, Shivoham, Chidananda Rupa hai, Shiva hai, Aham Asmi. All that you can do, I am doing Nididhyasanam. But in one corner of the intellect, there will be questions. Who has seen all these things? Who knows? Just because the Shastra is saying, should I swallow it? Guru is repeating Shivoham, Shivoham. Should I blindly swallow it? So am I immortal? Do I believe or accept my immortality? All these are questions, which will be there in everybody's mind. And they are all very difficult to accept also. And the most surprising thing is that Vedanta says the Lord that you worship is none different from you. You are God. Just now you have gone to a temple, did Archana to Bhagavan and all, take prasadam and coming. And you hear this, that you are God. Why did you go to the temple? You yourself are God. Can we accept it? Extremely difficult. And not only that, Vedanta doesn't stop there. It makes another mind-boggling statement that the world that you are experiencing is less real than yourself. It is not as real as you. You are the ultimate reality. Can I accept such a statement? When I see that the world has got ETU, you all remember ETU? Experienceability, transactability, and utility. How can I accept that the world is not as real as I am? So we will say, no, I can accept all other things, okay, fine. But this unreality of the world that is something which we cannot accept. As world is as real as I am. I am transacting with that world. I am touching the world, feeling the world, seeing the world, hearing the world. How do you say the world is not real? It is mithya and all that. Therefore, that conviction has to come that what all the Shastra is saying about me, the world, and Ishvara is all true. And that conviction comes by reflection, by meditation, by raising questions and answering them. Vedanta allows any number of questions until you are convinced. Shravanam and Mananam should continue. This process of clearing the doubts is called Mananam. Acquisition of knowledge is called Shravanam. Removal of doubt is called Mananam. And when the doubts are removed, I am called Chinnadvaida hai. Samshaya Rahita hai. Free from all doubts. I am convinced about all statements that Vedanta makes. Of course, as I said, I need not convince other people. I should convince my own intellect. Otherwise, I will be doing what? Cheating myself. Therefore, Chinnadvaidaha is the next stage. And once a person is Chinnadvaidaha, and to use a second chapter expression, Stita Prajnaha or Stira Prajnaha, what will happen? He says, Brahman Nirvanam Labhante. Such people attain oneness with Brahman. We discussed this word Nirvanam in the context of the previous sloka also. Nirvanam means merger, oneness, aikyam. And we saw how this expression merger, aikyam, etc. have to be understood and interpreted in this context. We must not take the literal meaning of merger. There is no question of merging into Brahman in the physical sense of the term, because if we are talking about physical merger into Brahman, it will mean there are two entities, one myself, another Brahman. Brahman is elsewhere, I am elsewhere. And like the rivers go and merge into the ocean, I have to rush and then become one with Brahman, merge with Brahman. But Vedanta defines Brahman as the all-pervading principle. Brahman is everywhere. So where will I go and merge? Wherever I am already one with Brahman only. Where Brahman is everywhere. So I can't go anywhere to merge with Brahman. Therefore, we must not take this merge or aikyam words as physical merger. So then what do we mean by saying that merging into Brahman? What we mean is dropping the notion that I am away from Brahman. Dropping the misconception which is born out of ignorance. So dropping the ignorance caused notion of distance between me and Brahman is called merger or aikyam. So nirvana means eki bhavaha. That is called discovering. I was never ever away from Brahman. So they attain Brahma Nirvanam. So now you can see the various stages in the spiritual journey. First, follow values of life. then become pure, then take the initiative for spiritual growth, which of course involves sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, guru prapti, attending the classes regularly. It will all come. Moksha is the highest goal of life, and therefore it requires efforts of the highest order. Everything is worth sacrificing for gaining this knowledge. In fact, there is a beautiful Subhashita. Tyajet ekam kulasyarte gramasyarte kulam tyajet gramam janapadasyarte atmarte prithvim tyajet. Very beautiful Subhashita. This is the advice given to us. For saving one family, you can sacrifice a member. For saving one village, you can sacrifice one family. For saving the nation, you can sacrifice one village. And for the sake of moksha, you must be prepared to sacrifice everything, sacrifice this world itself. And therefore, all these things will come under the initiative. And then the next stage is gaining the knowledge, followed by gaining conviction. And the final stage is as though merging into Brahman. And these are the stages which is further clarified in the next verse also. Okay, we will read. Kama krodha viyuktanam yatinam yatachetasam abhito brahma nirvanam vartate vididhatmanam. The anvaya of this shloka is Kama krodha viyuktanam yatachetasam yatinam vidita atmanam abhitah brahma nirvanam vartate. Kama krodha viyuktanam, those who are free from desire and anger. Yatachetasam, whose minds are restrained. Yatinam, for the self-restrained ones. Vidita atmanam, and who have known the Atma. Abhitaha, both here and hereafter. Brahma nirvanam, oneness with Brahman, vartate, takes place. So for those who are free from desire and anger, whose minds are restrained, such self-restrained ones, and who have known the Atma, who are convinced about this knowledge, oneness with Brahman takes place both here and hereafter. So more or less the same message. I think Krishna wants to emphasize before final closing that understand this is the main benefit of self-knowledge. And here also, various stages of spiritual growth are outlined. And here, first stage it talks about is Kama Krodha Viyuktana. As we know, Kama means desire, desire for acquisition, for possessing things. Krodha means anger, caused by obstacle in acquiring things. Or even Krodha can be caused by loss of things acquired. Kama will invariably lead to Krodha only. All this we have analyzed elaborately in the 3rd chapter. Isn't it? When Krishna said, Kama yesha krodha yesha rajo guna samudbhava mahashano mahapapma vichena miha vairinam. Vidyehamina vairinam. So that there we saw all this kama, krodha, how it affects and all that. And this management of kama and krodha is possible when I know this basic principle of Vedanta, which is that my happiness does not depend upon what I have, but it depends upon what I am. So always focus on what I am and not what I have. And if this is understood, our worry, our anxiety for yoga and kshema will come down. Otherwise, kama will lead more and more to more and more acquisition, preservation, that I will have no time for spirituality. The whole life will be spent on yoga and kshema only. Acquisition, yoga, preservation, kshema. And if you analyze, all our stresses and strains are all because of this only. By the time you say, okay, now I have done enough, I have done enough of yoga and kshema, you are already 70 years old. Your eyesight has become weak. You have become hard of hearing. Your brain has stopped working, stopped in the sense that it is not as sharp in understanding, in grasping as it was earlier. You become unfit for Vedantic studies. At that stage, even if you do whatever effort, how much benefit it is going to give you. Therefore, right from beginning, you must have the right attitude towards yoga and kshema. It is not that you should not possess things. Shelter is required for us to live. Food is required. Clothes are required. But how much? That is where you have to bring all your viveka, vairagya and all into play. As even you are pursuing your worldly pursuits, many times trying to gather more than what you require, you must find time, quality time for Vedanta pursuit also, for Vedanta study also. For some time it could run parallelly, but at some stage Vedanta study should become the higher priority than yoga and kshema. Then only all these benefits and the fruits of Vedanta study you will get. Therefore, we can take care of things to some extent, but we cannot dedicate our own entire life to yoga kshema. And therefore, one should know how to manage kama and krodha. And this is what in sadhana chatushtaya sampatti we saw, vairagya, first stage, acquisition of vairagya. And the next stage is yatachetasam. Yatachetasam here means those who have integrated their mind, those who have organized their mind. Mind is a very, very important instrument with which we have to do the spiritual journey. Unless my mind is focused enough, I will not be able to pursue spirituality. And we saw, Tattvavada students will remember this focusing capacity, otherwise called Samadhi Shatka Sampattihi. We saw that. Shama, Dhamma, Uparama, Tiksha. So this Samadhi Shatka Sampatti is what help us to focus the mind, concentrate, all so that all my organs cooperate with me for my spiritual journey. But in Kathopanishad, Yamadharma Raja compares our life itself into a journey. The body is compared to a car. Sense organs are compared to the wheels. Mind is compared to the steering and intellect is compared to the driver. Only if the car, the wheels, the steering, the driver, they are all healthy and function in coordination, then alone I can reach the destination. Similarly, my body must be fit. Sense organs must be fit. My emotional mind should be fit, very important. My intellect must be fit. And they should all be available for my use when I need them. And that is here called Yatachetasam. An organized personality, an integrated personality. A Samadhi Shatka Sampanna personality. So that is the next stage. Then Yatina. The next stage is becoming an Yati. The literal meaning of the word Yati means a sannyasi. So, what is Krishna saying? One should become a sannyasi. Suddenly, some people will have a doubt. What is it? Suddenly, from where, somewhere, this is being become a sannyasi is being advised. We have already seen what sannyasa stands for. Of course, in the olden days, sannyasa ashrama was exclusively prescribed for focused pursuit of spiritual study. In fact, in brahmacharya ashrama and sannyasa ashrama, we have no other duties at all. The ashrama dharma was so designed that a brahmachari has no duty. A sannyasi also has got no duty other than fully commit themselves for scriptural study. Therefore, committed study of scriptures is the duty of a sannyasi. And if a person follows the spirituality in a committed manner, then all such people are sannyasis only. If my priority in life is spiritual growth, I am a sannyasi. It does not matter, I go to office, I earn money. I may be doing lot of things. But if my top priority is moksha and jnanam, I can call myself to be a sannyasi. Therefore, here we have to understand yati means the one for whom spirituality is the priority, all other things are secondary. So that is the next stage. Then what is the final stage? He says vidita atmanaha. So if a person pursues spiritual knowledge with such a commitment, which is nothing but systematic, consistent study of the Vedanta for a length of time, under the guidance of a competent Acharya or Guru, such a person is a sannyasi. You must always remember this beautiful definition of Jnana Yoga given by Swami Paramarthananda ji. Systematic and consistent study of Vedanta for a length of time under the guidance of a competent Acharya. This is the definition of what is Jnana Yoga means. All elements should be there. It should be systematic, consistent, for a length of time and under the guidance of competent Acharya. Then only we can call it Jnana Yoga. And this systematic study will lead to clear knowledge. And that jnani is called Viditatma. So Viditatma means jnani. And all those people become a jnani as a result of the sadhanas. And because of this knowledge, what happens? Brahma Nirvanam Vartate. So they will all discover oneness with Brahman. As a result of this knowledge, they discover oneness with Brahman. At the cost of repetition, let me reiterate that merger into Brahman is not a physical event, it is an intellectual event, it is a cognitive event. And what is that cognition? That cognition is the knowledge that there was, there is, and there will be no distance between me and Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi is that knowledge. And this discovery of oneness, he says, is abhitaha. Abhitaha means both ways. In this context, both ways means oneness is there before death, oneness will continue after death also. So Maranat Purvam api, Maranat Anantaram api. The oneness before death is called Jivan Mukti. Continued oneness after death is called Videha Mukti. And the general example that is given in the Shastra is the pot space merging into total space. Imagine there is a pot which has got space within, inside the pot as well as outside the pot. When I gain knowledge of space, I know that pot space, that is the space within the pot, is all the time one with total space only. Because pot space can never be divided or separated from total space, because space itself is indivisible. Therefore, pot space is one with total space even when the pot is there. The pot space will be one with the total space even after the destruction of the pot also. It does not make any difference in space. The presence of pot does not create a division in space, and the absence of pot does not bring the space together also. It was one indivisible whole space before also and later also. So I am one indivisible consciousness in the presence of body also. I am one indivisible, all-pervading consciousness after the fall of the body also. All I am is, I am that one indivisible, all-pervading consciousness. When the body is there, it is called Jivan Mukti. When the body is no longer there, body has fallen, it is called Videha Mukti. And Jnanam, self-knowledge, will give both this. And these are the Jnana Phalam which Krishna talks about in these two slokas. Benefit of self-knowledge. Now, from the next sloka, there is a total change Krishna brings about in the topic. We'll read the sloka and then discuss. Sparshan kritva bahir bahyan chakshuschaivantare bhruvoho pranapanau samo kritva nasabhyantara charinau. The Anvaya is Bahihi Kritva Bahyan Sparshan Cha Eva Chakshuhu Cha Eva Chakshuhu Antare Bruvoho Samau Kritva Pranapanau Nasabhyantara Charinau. Bahihi kritva, having kept outside, bahyan sparshan, the external sense objects, chayeva chakshuhu, and having fixed the sight, antare bruvoho, between the eyebrows, somehow kritva, one should regulate pranapana, the inhalation and exhalation, nasya bhyantara charina, moving inside the nostrils. So, having kept outside the external sense objects and having fixed the sight between the eyebrows, one should regulate the inhalation and exhalation moving inside the nostrils. So, as I said, with the previous verse, Krishna has completed the topic of Jnana Phalam and the benefit of Jnanam, Jivan Mukti, Videha Mukti, etc. In fact, with the previous verse, that is the 26th verse, the 5th chapter is over. Because in the 5th chapter, Krishna wanted to talk about Jnana Yoga. He has talked about that. He has talked about Jnanam, he has talked about benefit of Jnana also. And therefore, 5th chapter is over. It should have been followed by Om Tat Sate, isn't it? But that has not happened. So Krishna now, toward the end of the 5th chapter, introduces one more topic and concludes the 5th chapter. And that topic is the topic of meditation. And Krishna wants to briefly introduce this topic and create an interest in Arjuna's mind so that he will continue to listen to him, and also in our mind so that we will come for the teaching of the next chapter. So towards the end of the 5th chapter, in 3 verses, he talks very briefly about meditation and its results. He will elaborate the topic of meditation in the next chapter, which is going to be aptly titled as Dhyana Yoga itself. We will be discussing more about meditation in the next chapter. But since Krishna discusses briefly here, we will also get introduced to the topic of meditation and discuss a little bit about it. Now one of the aspects we have seen in Jnana Yoga to get the final result, most important thing is the knowledge that you gain. You should have conviction over that. But that is not the only important thing. There is one more important aspect to this entire Jnana Yoga, which is not only you must be convinced about the knowledge, you must be able to internalize that knowledge, assimilate that knowledge. And Krishna is going to prescribe meditation for the assimilation of the Gita teaching. Therefore, for assimilation, for the digestion, for the internalization of the Gita teaching, not only it should be there in my superficial mind, this knowledge should go down into my subconscious mind and even to my unconscious mind. And why do we say that? Because most of our reactions in life come from our inner mind alone. When we get angry, when we get depressed, they are all called what? Knee-jerk reactions, violent reactions. They are not thoughtful actions. They are not deliberate actions. They are not conscious actions. They are just actions spring from our subconscious mind because of a very long association with such reactions, that it has gone and settled in our subconscious mind, and that is why we react like that. Even the thought of analyzing the issue and responding to it doesn't occur. If somebody calls you a fool, your immediate responsible is you are a fool, your father is a fool, etc., etc. You don't think, sit back and think, why did this fellow call me a fool? Once you have analyzed, probably your reaction will not be as spontaneous as you had just now said, you are a fool, you are a father, a fool, etc. In fact, if you see, it is very, very rare that we do conscious action. Most of our actions are mechanical actions. After reacting to the situation, many times we will think about it, and many times we regret our reaction also. I should not have talked like that, isn't it? Why did I do like that? See, in a fit of reaction, I hurt that other person's feelings. And I can tell you, this is very common between spouses in a home. How did that reaction come out of me? When I used such terrible words against my own father, mother, brother, why I behaved like that? Very, very, I mean, if you are leading a conscious life, a very awareful life, even though the reactions you have come, knee-jerk reactions, many people will, after some time, have all these questions. I shouldn't have done it. And, the best that they can do is they can go to the other person and say, sorry, I didn't mean what I said, etc., etc., isn't it? Why this happens? Why this is happening is because when I do not use my conscious mind, what is making me active is my own subconscious mind or the inner mind. And the problem is that the Gita teaching that I get or I have got till now remains in the conscious mind alone. And therefore, in my day-to-day life, what happens? Since we do not use the conscious mind most of the time, and Gita teaching is only in the conscious mind, the old samsari, the ignorant, the doubtful samsari is sitting in our subconscious mind, and therefore I continue with my old behavior. All the 20 years or 5 years or whatever time Vedanta teaching, Gita teaching would have made no difference to my behavior and attitude. And this is the reason many people criticize Vedanta. This fellow has says that he has been studying Vedanta for so many years. It has not made an iota of difference in his attitude, in his behavior. This is the reason. Because that knowledge, that jnanam has not percolated down to the subconscious mind, so that the use of that knowledge becomes, instantaneous. I mean, you don't need to, you will not even behave. Spontaneous it is. Use of that knowledge in day-to-day teaching becomes spontaneous only when it is pushed into the subconscious mind. Because most of the time our reactions are based on subconscious mind only. Therefore, it is not enough if Gita teaching is absorbed at the level of the conscious mind. The knowledge at the conscious level has to be penetrated into, pushed into my inner personality, to my subconscious mind, so that even when I unconsciously I do anything, that is also backed by Gita teaching. All fine, Well said and done. But how will it happen? You have to do something to mix the knowledge in all levels of your entire personality. Like mixing sugar in coffee. Many times it happens at homes. You are offered a cup of coffee by your spouse. Mostly the spouse is a wife. Okay. A husband very rarely will offer a cup of coffee to the wife rather. They do, but routinely it happens morning, you get up, brush everything, get ready, and you are given a cup of coffee by your wife. And you take a first sip and find that there is no sugar in the coffee. The moment that happens, your subconscious mind takes over, resulting in what? Early morning fight. See, you have become very, very careless these days. You have not put sugar in the coffee. Either you are becoming careless, or since I have retired, you don't care for me. Such words, they'll all come. Why? Because that poor lady is the only one around available for all scolding. So this scolding, this complaining goes on for a few minutes. When she says, after patiently listening to you, see, I agree that the coffee, it doesn't taste, the sugar taste is not coming. I have put 2 spoons of sugar, but what I missed was mixing that sugar with the coffee. It is not stirred well. Therefore, what is required is not addition of more sugar, but enough sugar is already there, but the added sugar must be mixed with every droplet of coffee. Similarly, unfortunately, the knowledge that I receive remains in one corner and not mixed with my entire personality. Therefore, in our day-to-day situations, in my day-to-day living, that knowledge doesn't become accessible. So how to make it accessible? Krishna is going to talk about meditation as a means of assimilation. And here, Krishna briefly talks about the initial steps to be taken for meditation. And then he will briefly talk about the process of meditation. And he will also briefly mention about the result of meditation. And all this he will elaborate in the next chapter. So in this shloka, some of the steps of meditation are talked about. Of course, you have to assume certain steps, which will be all explained, as I said, in detail in the next chapter. A person, you have to assume the person is seated in a comfortable posture. His body is relaxed. All these things we have to understand. Then what he should do? Look at the second line of the shloka. Pranapanau samau kritva. He should make his inhalation and exhalation even. Samau means even and relaxed. And that is why we do the pranayama, anulom vilom pranayama. The purpose of doing anulom vilom pranayama 10 times, 15 times, 20 times is you have to continue to do that pranayama till that samau kritva, the samam is achieved. Both the inhalation and exhalation, they become even. So that is the first sadhana or first action he recommends. Because the condition of the mind and the condition of breathing are interconnected if you look at it. And that is why when we have violent emotions, our breathing is also disturbed. When you are very angry, how will your breathing? You observe your breathing. Like that, it will be, very hard breathing. Which means by managing or regulating the breathing, we can regulate our mind also. And that is why, even before any puja, japa, etc., regulation of breathing is kept as an integral part. We start the puja or japa sankalpam with what? Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam. I'm talking about Smartasha, which is followed by pranayama, Om Bhuhu, Om Bhuvaha. And the priest will ask us, he will do all these things, then he will say, do pranayama. He will not do it. You have to do the pranayama because your mind has to be focused, your mind has to be quieted. So, prana apanau samau kritva. Make your inhalation and exhalation, which are nasabhyantara charina. It should move in your nostrils and make them even. And this again requires a lot of practice. It is not easy for you to do that. Anyhow, we will see more in the next class. But next class, I will finish the 5th chapter and also start the summary. I'll try to complete the summary. If not, we will have one more class to complete the summary. Then we will move over to the 6th chapter. Stop. Purnamada
Purnamidam
Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri
Shri Gurubhyo Namah.
Harihi
Harihi
Om.
Om.
Dhanyavadaha, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Karam.
Your example
Hari
of
Om,
morning
Guruji.
coffee was
Thank you.
excellent.
Not my example, Swami Paramatmananda's example.
Oh, anyway, through you.
That is, I am only a loudspeaker. Whatever I learned from him, I just relay it to you. That's all.
No, it was very good, Swamiji.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Excellent.
Excellent example. I mean, appropriate, isn't it? That is the beauty of Swamiji, you know. The very down to earth example he gives so that we can actually assimilate that easily.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you. Hari Om.
Hariji, namaste. I thought
Namaste.
you would be missing the class from the message that you sent to me.
Yeah, then somehow I could manage.
You fixed that problem?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, the plumber had to come.
Okay.
It was almost getting flooded.
Yeah, I can understand.
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Namaskar.
Guruji, I have a doubt.
Yeah, tell me.
Not doubt, I have a query.
You don't Great Wall?
It is not directly connected with what you taught us today.
Ah.
You know, can you explain the importance of sannyasis like Shankaracharya or so many other, even in this modern time, also sannyasis, holding the dand?
Done means?
Yeah, you know that they hold
Done. Okay.
yeah, and not everybody holds. Like now, Swami Chinmayananda or Swami Paramatmananda, they don't hold it. Why? What is the difference, and what is the importance of it?
Yeah, see, it is. I will tell you what to the extent I know. I can't claim.
Okay. No. I just yeah.
See, for a sannyasi, the dandam is like the punal for us.
Okay.
Okay. Now it is not compulsory that every sannyasi should have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When they take away, they will throw away the punal, they take
Yeah.
danda to signify that they have become a sannyasi, and every moment they should be reminded that they are a sannyasi.
Okay.
So it is for that purpose that dandavat sannyasam is taken.
Yeah.
But at some stage, after you take that danda, you can actually forego that danda also rather.
Okay.
I believe there is a ritual for that. To give away the Dandavat sannyasi also
Okay.
and become a Vidvat sannyasi. I mean, Vidvat, of course, those they are also Vidvat sannyasis only. So you can do away with that Dandavat sannyasi. That is what my understanding is. I may be wrong in some
No,
of.
no, it doesn't. We are not.
So there is no basically difference in terms of their sannyasa ashrama living is concerned.
Yeah.
It is just that in the tradition, the Acharya, Shankaracharya tradition,
Yeah.
you will find that all the mata heads have got the danda.
Okay.
So when they are having this Dandavat sannyasi, that signifies their position
Yeah.
that they are head of a matam.
Okay.
And that matam is set up by Adi Shankara.
Yeah.
It is like a uniform for them.
Yeah.
So that when the public see them, they will know if he is having this danda, he must be a head of a matam, Shankara matam.
Yeah. But I have also seen, we have that Swami Jiaji and all, they have, he is not in any way directly connected with Shankara Madam. He is stationed in Hyderabad. You know, in Hyderabad, that statue of unity and all.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he also always carries his danda with a flag and all.
Yeah, possible. Because as I said, every sannyasi is supposed to acquire that danda. It is just like every brahmachari is supposed to start with the Upanayana, correct?
Yeah,
Wear that punal, correct?
yeah, yeah.
So every sannyasi is supposed to start with the danda only. But that danda can be done away with one another ritual.
Okay.
So if say like Swami Chinmayananda and other teachers who are there, most of them they don't have this danda, right? That is because they travel a lot.
Okay.
They travel by air, by train, and things like that and all, right? So it could become a little inconvenient for them because the danda again has to be, when you are having the danda, there are a lot of rituals for the danda every day you have to do.
Oh.
Yeah, because just like the Poonal we do Sandhya Vandanam and all, the danda also, if you are taking the danda, there are a lot of rituals you have to do for that every day.
Okay.
So in order to avoid all that, so there's a provision again. Our Shastra is full of clauses and subclauses and provisions, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So you can invoke some provision and then that danda can be given up. I don't need that danda for that. Like that. So this is the sannyasa dharma is a very, you have to go deep into it. As I said, I know a little bit which I've heard from Swami Puja Swamiji and all that. That is what I'm sharing with you. And it may not be that the details which I'm giving me all be correct also, rather, right?
That is okay.
But I will find out, I mean, if it is, because here there are no sannyasis. Question is a very academic question for all of us, right?
Yeah.
So,
no, it is not exactly because we see all like what you said, all the Madhadivadis of Shankara Mad, they all come with the danda only.
yeah.
Whereas we see other sages who do not have it, like Swami Chinmayananda or Ramana Maharshi or
Yeah, exactly. So this is what my understanding is. As the little understanding, I should say, rather. So, yeah.
Yeah, if you can. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Anjali ji.
Yeah, Namaste Guruji.
Say.
No questions. I have a few comments. This for the liberation. Now we have learned from you that, I mean, from Gita, you are taught the first step is Karma Yoga and second step is Dhyana Yoga. So I was always wondering where does this fit the Dhyana Yoga, 6th chapter? But you have started itself very well guided. Internalization and assimilation of self-knowledge. so that Dhyana Yoga goes hand in hand. So that you have clarified very well. Yeah,
See,
you're.
Dhyana Yoga has to be both beginning as well as in the end.
Hmm.
When the beginning we do as a preparatory, when we do yoga,
Hmm.
it is all Ashtanga Yoga and all these things there. You start with that, right?
Hmm.
Then when the end you do it, after gaining the knowledge, it is called Nididhyasana.
Hmm.
So there are both the end. This dhyanam cannot be done away with at any stage of this entire pursuit. Okay. That is why Ashtanga Yoga becomes a very, very integral part of this entire teaching, a part of Karma Yoga.
Hmm.
That's a very important thing we have to understand.
Yeah.
So these are all integrated. They are not separate. Like Ashtanga Yoga is separate. They're all integrated.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. And second comment was this 27th shloka, where it says that we have to, with focusing in between the eyebrows and doing pranayama samav krutva. This I read somewhere that this is the main guiding shloka for many pranayama based sadhanas like Kriya Yoga taught by Mahavatar Babaji and also Sudarshan Chakra and so many other devices people have found. No?
See, yes, I mean, see, to reach that calmness of the mind, focus of the mind, you can use many tools rather, right?
Mhm.
Krishna is prescribing what the traditionally it is done because I have not studied, of course, again, Ashtanga Yoga Sutras and all that, right? But
Mhm.
some of these things which these gurus today, they can, like, for example, you mentioned about Sudarshan Chakra. Now, Sudarshan Chakra is a purely Sri Sri Ravi Shankar's innovation, right?
Mhm.
No other guru talks about Sudarshan Chakra.
Mhm.
Even Jagat Guru, who is also a very accomplished yoga teacher,
Yeah.
he doesn't talk about Sudarshan Chakra.
No.
So every guru has got, I mean, he picks up certain things from all the Ashtanga Yoga Shastra and creates a new tool for people to practice rather.
Yeah.
Thing is there, all these things, the ultimate end, you have to keep it in mind.
Mhm.
So there, if you are able to achieve that focused mind, the balanced mind, and pranayama is, according to Ashtanga Yoga, is the only sure thing to calm your mind, to make your mind focus.
Yes.
Because if you focus on breathing, then the
Mhm.
mind automatically will follow the breathing this thing. So
Yes.
you have to regulate your breathing in such a way that once you have regulated, the mind automatically also will get regulated.
Yeah.
Now that regulation of the breathing you can achieve in different ways. Like one of them was the Sudarshan Kriya. Right?
Mhm.
So all those things are there, but from a
Yeah.
Vedanta point of view, for us, there are tools only which are
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
Karma
Yes.
Yoga.
Yes.
Our
Yes.
focus is on Jnana Yoga. We are not
Yes.
bothered
Yes.
about this.
Yes.
But
Yes. Yes.
important.
Very clear.
This is
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Guru.
Hari Om. Thank you. Any more questions? No. Okay then. Namaste everyone. We will meet next.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Namaste.
Thank
Namaste.
you.
Namaste, Guruji. Hari Om. Thank
Hari
you.
Om.
Hari Om Guru.
Hari Om. Thank you.